Azure Kubernetes Service makes it easy for you to deploy and manage your containerized workloads without requiring a lot of container orchestration expertise. In this episode, Jay will demonstrate and explain just how easy it is to take a simple application and deploy it into Azure, today on Azure Friday. Hey everyone, Donovan Brown here with another episode of Azure Friday. I'm here with Jay, and we're going to be talking about Azure Kubernetes Service. So we've done some other shows on Azure Kubernetes Service, but what I think is really cool and unique about what we're about to do is this is like a quick primer on how to get going really, really quickly.
I really love helping people take those first steps into services that we have at Azure. It's just one of the things that I really enjoy.
Cool.
And so one of the things I want to do today is just show you and the rest of the folks just how simple it is. You can start working with Azure Kubernetes Service without a whole ton of experience. Because Kubernetes it's a pretty big software to deal with.
Yeah, it can be intimidating too, but what's really nice is how we've kind of streamlined that stuff.
Yes. So one of the things that I've done here, and I'm going to show you, is I've created a cluster already, and the command is fairly simple. Let's talk about it real quick. AKS create, so we're working with the Azure CLI, basic tools. We're going to invoke an AKS command, and we're going to create. We're going to do it under our resource group, which I've already created, and we're going to name it Azure Friday AKS. Within there, as you can see, I've enabled some additional tools like monitoring, HTTP routing. I can specify what version I want to create, SSH keys, a service principal. Why are we doing this? Just so we can create a way for our Azure container registry, where our images are going to live, to trust the cluster that we've created.
Right.
Because we need to make sure that things are deploying from where we expect them to, and that there's a trust created and we don't have to always work with our credentials.
Right, because we don't want random people pulling our images down. We want that to be secure, and what we're doing now is basically assigning an identity that we can say, hey, this is the person that I allow to be pulling from my particular registry.
And even more importantly, what we're doing is reducing the need for manual rotation of credentials. You're just getting everything and saying, this is the user and password that we have for this specific, so that's what we've got here. And then what you can see I've also done is I'm going to give us scale set based virtual machines on the back end to handle auto scaling.
Okay.
So now we are not just building it with one node, we're building it with 3 nodes for that large amount of redundancy, and then we can have our max count of 1 and 5. So one of the things I've already done is I've built a cluster. It takes a few minutes. I want to make sure the cake is ready because I want you to see it. So let's go ahead and get our credentials. We need that. And to get our credentials, I'll just run this command. And what it does is it takes the credentials that you're going to need to run kubectl or kubectl, whichever your saying is, and make sure that you're able to make changes. So one of the things we need to do next is create a container registry. And that's where, like you said, that's where all of our stuff is going to be stored. It's really important that it's private. It's got all the required redundancy so that every single time you do a pull from that ACR, the image is always there.
Yeah, and another thing that I really like about creating a container registry inside of Azure is our cluster is inside of Azure, and now our registry where we're storing our images is network close to our infrastructure.
You got it.
Downloading those images is going to be extremely fast.
Exactly. So let's go ahead and build our ACR. So it's as simple as a one-liner. You can do it within the portal, but I think this is pretty quick.
Yeah, I like whenever, I script out a lot of my commands using the Azure CLI because it allows me to then later automate that stuff through like scripts like the ones you're running now, even through CI/CD pipelines. Being able to script it out here gives you a lot of flexibility.
Cool, and as you can see, we've got a fully qualified domain name that's associated with the login server. It's fully redundant, it's all over the world. You can put it in different places based on the SKU. So lots of stuff we're able to do. So now we've got our credentials, we've got our ACR. Now it's time to build a container.
Right.
So what am I going to build today? I've got this really simple clock that all of you are going to get access to, no matter who you are. I've got all this stuff online.
Okay.
And it's a very basic clock. It's stateless. It's just to be able to give you something to work with. That makes a lot of sense. It's just in React. So I've also provided a couple other extra things, and one of them is going to be really helpful. This script, acr.sh, what this is doing is taking the service principal that we created and then created it for our AKS cluster. And we're going to create a trust that says, You can talk to me. You can do a pull. And that's what this last line right here says. We're going to take an ACR pull role and attach it to that service principal. So now we make sure that we have that RBAC configured for role-based authentication between the AKS cluster and the Azure Container Registry.
Got it.
So let's run that script. Real simple. So you know the trust we created just a minute ago. I went ahead and ran that script. And now we've got an AKS to ACR role pull created. So there's a trust.
Got it.
And now we're allowed to pull images from it. So now what we're going to do is actually create our image from the registry. So what I have to do is go into where our Docker file is.
Right, because you're basically the context folder
Yep.
for where you're going to be doing this.
And if we look at the Docker file, very simple. We're just building npm install,
Sure.
and that's it. So let's go ahead and run our ACR build. And in the background, now we've got a container image that Azure is provisioning. So you don't have to install Docker on your local computer. And I remember the days of building images. That kind of was...
It was.
Because of that, my laptop would sound like it was trying to take off into space. And I'll be honest with you, I don't need to do that. I can use a lot of the tools that's built into Azure. And so right now, what's going on is each individual layer is being built, a part of the ACR. And then at one point, we're going to have an image with our version number built.
Yeah, one of the things that I really like about using ACR as my actual building mechanism is when you're doing CI/CD, if you're building that image on a fresh machine, you have to download all those layers every single time you build it. But ACR actually caches those layers so that the second, third, fourth build of that same image, you don't have to pull down all those cached images. Your build goes much, much faster. And since I want to store my images inside ACR anyway, the fact that I'm able to use ACR to build, to tag, and to store my images makes it this really one-liner, almost like this great atomic execution of my build statement.
And we're just about done. And what does that mean? Because now it's running the npm install, which means it's going to then provide the image a output, what actually our app is going to do. So that's all going on now. And what's next? What do we have to do next? Well, we have to run some manifests that are in Kubernetes to actually deploy our application. So I've got two ready to go. The first one right here. What we have here is a notice of where our ACR is. We have to actually just modify that one little portion of our manifest. And as you can see, we've got all the information about how it's going to get started, how much memory we want to associate, how much CPU, just so we have level sets. So we'll go here. And as you can see, still building, just a few more minutes or a few seconds left. And then what we've got also within here is a load balancer. And a load balancer here, classic load balancer, is just going to go ahead and forward 8080 to 80, so it's provided a standard web. And now we can do more things like ensure that we have all those nodes that we want to be available, load balanced and in front.
Sure, and these YAML files are the ones that you're going to basically pass to kube control to make sure that it knows how to then deploy the application inside of my cluster.
And let's do that now. So our image is built.
Got it.
Let's go ahead and let's back up. Actually, no, we don't even need to back. We'll just go into Kate's. And so anyone that's watching this, they'll be able to just do the same exact thing. They'll be able to run kubectl, apply, -f, specifying the file, and then deployment. So what's happening there? Now we're actually creating the application. I've already run it before, so you're just getting it unchanged.
Sure.
And then the next portion is running our load balancer creation. Same kind of situation, apply. So while we can go ahead and do a kubectl get services, and we can see we've got this load balancer, and let me close this so we can see it in full. But we've got an external IP created.
Sure.
And that's all it took to create that external IP address, was just to run that manifest right out of our command line. So now all we have to do, copy. Wait a second, and our really super duper stateless application running on a Azure Kubernetes cluster will come up. And You know, the one thing that really is the benefit to everyone that I think is just being able to go to a place like GitHub, grab all this code, and just start building something right away.
Yeah, because it shows just how, again, I think you laid out really well the steps that are required and how easy it is just from the command line, and they can just take the commands that you ran and run them again to get started when it comes to actually producing your first containerized application. Now, one of the things while this is still loading, it's like it's about to load now, is that we did all of this stuff manually. And you know, my claim to fame is DevOps.
You're the DevOps man.
Exactly, right?
The man in the black shirt.
Exactly. So part of this is like this is cool and all, but there has to be a way for me to automate this deployment. And we kind of touched on it a little bit when we showed the scripting, and I knew, well, if I can script it, I can automate this.
Donovan, I would not come here without something to make you happy. And what did I make happy? Well, Azure Kubernetes Service, which we can go ahead, click on our AKS cluster right here, has all these additional features. So everything I did already was pretty much on Cloud Shell because I wanted to show you the speed.
Sure.
But now it's time to show you what you can do. And so we've got Deployment Center. And I think that this is the part that's going to make you happy.
Exactly.
So now we can go in here, go to GitHub, start creating a way to launch the application directly from Azure I should say Azure DevOps
or GitHub Actions or whatever we want to do in the future. But this is going to allow us to then, now that we've learned how to do it, thanks to the scripts that you've given us, I can automate the execution of those scripts on a repeatable basis so that as a developer, all I do is commit code to a repository and the next version is just going to roll out.
It's important that we always understand the concepts. And sometimes the concepts means a couple manual steps, and that's how you learn.
Sure, agreed.
At least that's how I learn. I like to go through each step one at a time and learn about all the different parts. Then take those parts, put them together, and then understand how I can then repeat it quickly, fastly, and reliably.
No, I agree, because when it's inevitable at some point your pipeline is going to break. And because you understand it at this level, you're going to be able to troubleshoot your pipeline as well.
And that's the thing, is that we look at ARM templates as that basis for us to be able to create all that automation. But we need to understand what goes into them.
Agreed.
And the same thing can be said about Kubernetes.
Awesome.
So containers, Kubernetes, you name it. All we have to do is just understand the concepts, and we can deploy things much easier.
And that's awesome. We're learning all about Azure Kubernetes Service here on Azure Friday.